Today in the shop, a really good day. We got a lot done on our wheel project for the GS, the Evil Twin project. We started off the day making sure Joe's parts had no part that needed to be buffed. We put the tire up by the heating vent, kind of tried to get that as warm as possible for mounting the tire. I demoed up one of the tire changing things I haven't even used yet. I got the demasking done, and it worked out perfectly. Nothing got in by the hub whatsoever. I got all of the parts ready for the Curvy Girl installation. I tried to demo how to do that in the proper way. And thank you, Julie, down at Curvy Girl. And the rest of the day played out just about as predictable as possible. We never got the tire warm enough to make an easy install. The install turned out to be very difficult. And that's how it always is with these narrow rims. It's just a difficult thing to do it. But in the end, we always get it done. And in the end, a surprise was that the Michelin tire balanced up perfect. Now, the only part we don't have in-house is the sprocket from Vlad. We're going to try to connect with him. We've been trying to connect. He's busy. My schedule and his just haven't gotten together yet, but he's already got the sprocket. But today, I want to work on that GS wheel and get that Evil Twin project ready for the swapping out of the wheels and see how that's going to look when we have it all together. Of course, the real fun is going to be, Luciano's got the H1. He's already ridden it. I want to get a photo shoot up by his house if I can very soon. Get the RD up there and get them together and get some pictures taken. So there's a lot of cool stuff coming. I hope the weather's going to break. I can see the fish in the pond. Some is coming. A pond owner's life is a life of hard work. So with the fish pond cleaned, the battery chargers all flipped, bikes all ready to go, Evil Twins ready to get even more evil, we have a very, very nice day to work in the shop because it's still pretty cold out here. It wasn't supposed to be this cold today. But as we know all year, the weatherman has been lying about it almost every day, and today's no exception. We're getting down in the house. It's really a lot colder out there. They said it was going to be decent today. It's cold. Now, the last couple of days in the shop have just been really, really rewarding. We've seen the end of the Ducati project. That is now totally buffed. We're waiting to get a hold of Joe and have him pick it up, make some room in the shop here. The back wheel, again, we're waiting for Vlad, but that's coming. He's already got the sprocket. We just got to coordinate. We still have the FZR muffler to test, or for the 750. I'm not sure which we're going to do, but that's coming in the spring. But the big thing today is, the big thing, and I've been waiting for a long time for this. You get this put together today, get the tire on it if nothing else, and then I may have to have a day of, because I'm going to use the discs that are on the bike, I want to rejuvenate them and repolish them. So this may be a 2-day job, but we'll get this assembled today. Now, as I always have been trying to do, but it hasn't been working as well as we would like. I left this hanging by the heating vent overnight, but it doesn't really warm it up. It probably gets it 5 degrees warmer than ambient, but that's not, we found out with the last tire, not enough. And these narrow rims are the most difficult ones to get on. Very difficult. The wider rims, the wider the rim, the easier the tire goes on. So this we know is going to be a handful. Now, before I even start, I just wanted to show this on the video. Chuck, years ago, who's a dirt bike rider, gave me this tool. It's supposed to be when you have a tube and a narrow rim to avoid pinching the tube. And it's something, I haven't even used it yet. I'm waiting because I'm not going to put a tube in this tire. I don't have tube tires on my GS, but I know some people do. And I was thinking about it, and I looked at it, and I said, you know, but I'm really afraid. See, here's what I'm afraid of with this tool. Now, on a dirt bike, it wouldn't matter. This is made so you can use this to stretch the tire instead of tire irons. And to be honest, I'm just afraid it'll scratch the rim. So we're going to save this for somebody out there has a dirt bike tire to change. We can try to do a demo, but we're not going to use a demo on the GS today. And by the way, this is called the Baja No Pinch, and I know Chuck has used it, and he gave it to me when I did the RD rims that do have tubes, but the RD doesn't need tires now, so we're just going to hang on and save this. But it's an interesting tool. So the first thing to do here is to really carefully pull all the back masking off, and since I did use Gorilla Tape, and it did work perfectly, So now the trick is I want to get it off and not disturb the paint edge too much. And this looks like it'll be okay. I'm looking down here. Put a little slit in this before I go to pull it off. This will just trying to get that I have a nice edge there rather than just pull a tape up. And a brand new razor really helps. That's the same thing on this side. Just getting everything demasked, and then I'll wipe that all down with brake parts cleaner and make sure the bearing is nothing has gotten down into the bearing, and that's the whole objective. Now what I don't want to do is get any of this brake cleaner on the fresh paint, of course, but I want to get all the tape residue off. I don't want to squeeze that in when I sock the discs down to factory spec. I don't want to have a layer of tape or goop or gop or whatever in there. So cleaning this up. It looks like nothing at all got in the bearing using that Gorilla tape for protection, but a little bit extra time to get the tape off, but to get the goop off really. But nothing's in by the bearing, and that's the whole key thing in a nutshell. Now I want to thank Pokey, who contributed our balancing stand years ago. And one of the things I do every time I get done with a job and I'm going to balance a wheel, I throw a little drop of WD-40 on both sides to make sure these are perfectly free, since we use it for painting. And at the end of this job, when I'm all done, I usually wipe it down a little bit, clean it up just a little bit. But there's been a lot of work done on that stand, a lot of painting and a lot of balancing, and again, thank you, Pokey. So the first thing I have to do is pull off all the masking tape off the rim and be very careful up on the edge. I don't want this to start peeling up over there. So I'll do that real carefully, and if I have to, I'll cut that edge with a brand new razor blade, and I'll be ready to do the curvy girl. And it's lucky that we ordered these curvy girls. We had them for the MT-09 when I had to change the wheel, and I had ordered one of each, which was just the correct thing, because a lot of times it's hard to figure out which one you have until you take the old valve out. I would never trust that, and Julie down at Curvy Girl knows that a lot of people order the wrong one. So anyway, it's good if you can ahead of time know what size you need. There's 8.3, 8.3 and 11 I think are the two. But anyway, there's a modern one and a big one, and then there's some special sizes. But it's always good to check with Julie. She's been real good, real helpful. And this is a great company to do business with. Now this is in fast forward, of course, and getting all that masking tape off with a razor blade, and I want to clean it up. I want a nice edge. And the last thing before we put the curvy girl in, I got to take the bolt that we had so paint wouldn't get in there, and clean it up with some, clean that hole up with some brake part cleaner. And what I did, I have a little piece of, this is a good trick by the way, take a piece of any kind of sandpaper, 2000 grit's probably good, bend it up in a little, just to clean that out, any oxidation that's in there. And that little rubber O-ring seals at the top, so this really isn't super necessary, but I always like having everything as nice as I could make it. Now I also go around the edge of this just once, one or two revolutions, just to break the paint edge, because it's the paint edge where this will have a tendency to peel paint up if at some point in time you have trouble installing a tire, which we may have today. That tire isn't getting very hot up by the heating vent, by the way. I think we're going to have ourselves a little adventure. But everything's an adventure with old motorcycles. Okay, ready to put the curvy girl in. Now these are really good, and the reason I really like them is I check the air pressure every time I ride the bike, and this makes it so convenient and so easy, and I'm always chewing up my hands trying to get the air chuck in between the two discs on some of the bikes. This makes it, it encourages you to check the air on a regular basis. Now Curvy Girl gives you a little drop of Loctite, the 242. And here's what happens, if you think you're going to take this out and put it in another rim at some point in time, you may not want to use the Loctite, because what I've found is if you Loctite these, boy, they are a bear to get out, and it's very thin aluminum. They can just fracture. So but in my case, I'll just buy new ones if I have to. I don't like using used tires and used, I'd rather just not have to deal with that. Anyway, this seals up. You see the little O-ring here? So it seals there. So that edge where this goes into the wheel, I always run a little piece of sandpaper around it just to break the edge. So it just cushions that going in. And these get to be just a little more than hand tight until you can't do this. Hand tight is all you need. And if you use a big wrench or a socket on it, you're probably going to have a problem. Now, to be honest, what I should have done today is I should have worn my Curvy Girl t-shirt, but it's just too cold. We'll give them their free advertising. Julie is really a sweetheart. I've always dealt with her, and she's really been nice. And so finally, if you buy 10 of these, you get a free t-shirt. But anyway, this is really, the whole thing in a nutshell here is to make this, so get this lined up. And I want this on the side of the motorcycle, that if the bike is on the side stand, I want to be able to get at it that way. I don't want it on the side, in other words, I don't want it on the clutch side. This just makes it even easier to check it. And I want to get out my hand wrench. I don't want to do this with a socket wrench. And how do I know that? Yeah, I'm going to get the wrench and just tighten this with my fingertips by hand tight. It's the thing, I grab the wrench like this, hand tight, and maybe a tad more, but not any tighter than that. And they seal up beautifully, and they don't seem to come loose whenever you check the air. I don't wiggle it around. I hold this with one hand and check it. And these have been, for my case, track bike, street bike, everything, dead reliable. So before I go any further, I want to get the lube on this and just get this over with. And this, thank you, Bob Navola. He contributed this to our cause. I was changing some tires for him. I don't remember how long ago. It was a while ago, but he lived up here, of course. And he saw that I was using Dawn, and he bought this, which seems to work pretty well. But again, if you don't have this, I haven't found that it works a lot better than Dawn. I only have to do one side, of course, and of course the wheel, the tire. But the tire's been sitting by that heating vent. I don't feel confident that we're going to have one of these, bloop, like I've had many times in the past. And a lot of times I got to fight it, and if I can't warm it up enough, we always have the tire irons ready, just in case. Now obviously, if you're in warm weather climate, put this out in the sun, do it on a sunny day, make it a lot easier. No matter what method you use, having a tire warm is going to make it easier. I'm on double rug and a towel, always trying to protect the rim at all costs. Now this is some information. If you have a GS, if you have this exact bike or one similar to it, maybe useful information. I have had a lot of different tires in 72,000 miles on this bike. And I've had Dunlops and I've had Pirellis and whatever. The thing I learned is the day I put the Michelin front, not the back, the front, the handling on a bike got a lot better. I don't know why. I don't care why. And I've encouraged other people to try that, and it seems to have worked for them too. But the Michelin tire seems to stabilize the handling in a way that none of the other tires did. I don't know why, and that, to be honest, I don't care. So my thought is, if everything else is the same, I'm going to go, and I'm of course prejudiced to Michelin tires, but I think this one more than any, the front of the GS changed the handling of the bike, and that was pretty eye-opening to me. So I'm not sure I even have this tire close to being hot enough, but we do have the tools ready. But this is the way I've been doing it. Now, an interesting point, this tire does not have a red dot, so we're just taking pot luck. And remember the old thing on the Michelin website that they reject tires that don't balance, so I guess we're going to find out. But that I noticed the one I just put on the MT-09 has a red dot, so I don't know. That's the bottom line. Anyway, I wanted to show this one time. We show this on all our tire changing videos. This is the way I've done it to protect the rim. There's a million other ways to do it, but with these skinny rims like this rim here, skinny rims are way harder. We need to do this 4 times and then hope we can get the tire reheated a little bit with the hair dry. But it's really not that warm. So let's see if it's our lucky day. Okay, now the most important thing is when you start the tape, don't get it down into where the rim is going to be. You want to start the tape up on the tire. And the Gorilla tape, not duct tape, that usually holds it together pretty well. But the biggest single thing is try to get the tire as warm as possible. That is the whole thing in a nutshell. And of course I'm being real careful about getting the tire rotation right. Don't put it on backwards. There's a rotation arrow on all tires. And the whole trick is if you can get the side up into the rim. That's why with a narrow rim it gets difficult to do that. Now, of course, so many ways to change tires, it doesn't even matter. You can pretty much figure this out on your own. And everybody's got some little preference and some little convenience thing. And again, the Dawn works just as good as this, but I want to get plenty of it on there. And I wipe as much of it off when I'm done as possible. I don't want a bunch of it down inside the tire if I can help it. You don't need much. Now, even using the quartz heater today, it was just really difficult because it was cool in the cellar. Really difficult to bring the tire up to the temperature you need to make an easy install. I was surprised that this was a little more difficult, and I had to use the rim protectors and stuff, but it got on without a scratch, so that's all that really matters. I can't wait till I can just leave a tire in a driveway and let it warm up. Anyway, the next step on this is the critical step. This is the one that counts. To get the tape off with no pieces remaining inside the tire. So I'll do this once on camera. Let me peel this up. See what happens. I got that lube on my hands now, that greasy stuff. Okay, but this is the whole thing in a nutshell. That's why you don't get this to go down into the bead area. Break that free, pull it off the edge of the table a little bit, and hopefully you get it in one shot. Like I said, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But now it'll be important for me to check. Yeah, we got it. Good. Okay. And do the other three, and then I want to clean off all the extra inside that I can of that wheel, that lube. Oh, we're ready to see if it's our lucky day. You never know when it's going to be a lucky day. What I usually do is put 40 or 50 pounds of air in, make sure the bead is seated. Let it sit, go have a cup of coffee, and then do the little leak test if we see any bubbles, of course. But the biggest thing, and I think it's due to the curvy valve, but they never leak anyway. But the biggest thing right now is I have the opportunity to let this sit overnight before I do anything. So I'll register with the same gauge, the pressure that it had, and this looks like it's going to be perfect. And in the morning, if it's the same exact thing, I'll feel real confident. I don't see any bubbles at all, but we'll wait and we'll do the other side. And had we been able to get this tire hotter, it would have been a piece of cake, but the way it works out, heat is your friend. And living in a cold weather, a 65-degree house, even with a heating vent and a quartz heater, not the same as living in California. Now, as I'm trying to balance this is eerie how close this is. Just like the other one, I'm really impressed that these tires, and Michelin says they reject the ones that need a red dot. Well, I'm not sure they're lying. That this is not going to even require any balancing weight. Wow. Maybe it is our lucky day. Anyway, the tire beaded up pretty nice. The valve seated. Everything's right. Now I'll check this in the morning. Just make sure I don't have some phantom mystery leak. And we're ready to go on to the next step. Now the next step is going to be to pull the discs off the other wheel, put the discs on, and we can install it on a bike. Now I joke about it being our lucky day, and today was a lucky day. This was a very nice install. And the balance thing, I'm still, that Michelin, it's no red dot, they balance, they don't reject them. Who who knows who to believe? I don't know either, and I don't pretend to know. And I don't need to know. I know this tire's ready to go, and maybe the next chance we get, we'll pull the discs and do the wheel swap. But not today. Today was a real productive day. I had a good feeling in the beginning of the day things were going to be fine, and I'm lucky every day. Every day to have friends like you guys on the A-team and beyond, people that watch the videos, and have a great family and a boss of my family like Karen that takes care of business. So, and to have the healthcare workers. Boy, if I ever forget you guys, come and give me a good whipping, boy. I really appreciate it. I'm counting down the days till I get my shot, and I can't wait to get back to, I hope this summer, we're all going to be riding together and having fun and oogling each other's motorcycles and being jealous of each other and whatnot. So I hope you did enjoy the video, and guys, thank you so much for watching. Now, I always like to, at this point in the project, and we're pretty much near the end of the project, except for mounting the discs and getting it installed on the motorcycle. I like to look back at a project when I'm near the end or when I'm at the end. And some of the information, some of the questions that people always ask me, how long does it take to do a job like this? Well, I can figure this out. There's 26 videos, and you can pretty much figure 4 to 5 hours a day of shop time. So you can go to the low end, the high end, depending on how you want to calculate it out. But I would say conveniently it's between 100 and 125 man hours to do what I've done to the GS. Now, a lot of people would say, well, that's a lot of, gee whiz, that's a lot of time. And yeah, but you know what? If you have a passion for something, it's like climbing Mount Everest. There's no real reason to do it. The only reason to do it is because you want to do it. And to understand a person's passion for motorcycling, and I'm letting these pictures that are in my album to show how this project evolved. And a lot of people have asked me, why don't you just put it all into a 3-minute video and be done with it? You know, your videos take too long and that. Well, there's a reason, because I really want to know how to do things. And when I watch a YouTube video, I'm watching it not only to be entertained, I want to know how to do it. I want to know every step. I want to know when I get to this point, and how do you do this, and where do you put that, and how does this go before that? Well, and thankfully, YouTube has been pretty good. There are some wonderful people sharing. I love to watch Alan Millyard's videos. I can't build an engine like Alan, but I sure appreciate that he put it all on video to share. And there's other people that are more technically adept. They're building MotoGP bikes or dirt bikes or whatever. But I love to watch it, and I love to learn from it. And I love to pick out things that I think I can do myself, and within my skill set and within the budget that I want to spend on this. Now, luckily, a project like this, the amount of hours, and it's definitely more than 100 man hours to do a set of wheels, to do them this way anyway. Maybe if you take them and spray paint them while they're still on a bike, it's a lot less. But anyway, when you do the complete restoration and a complete job like this, the thing that you have when you're done is you know it's done right. You know 10 years from now, this paint is not going to bubble up and fall off, or you're going to get a stone chip and you can't fix it. So this is an investment in a motorcycle that I've owned since brand new. I've loved every minute of owning it. It has been a wonderful, reliable, safe bike. It has always been fun to ride, and it's always been a reliable bike, even on really long rides. I've done most of my long distance riding on this bike, and when I leave home, I know I'm going to make it home. So, and I'm not going to come home with a backache or a headache or a clip-on ache or something. This has been a fun bike. So investing this time, and the amount of money is negligible for a job like this. It's all about, to me, it's all about how many hours you want to spend on it. But the bottom line is, now it'll be even better. It'll have a brand new set of tires, and especially important to have that front Michelin tire. That's the one that I thought made the biggest difference of all. And now that we're coming up near the end of the project, I hope you've been part of it and enjoyed watching it and enjoyed sharing the adventure. All of the work we do here in the shop is basically to share information, and share it in a way that you can understand it and enjoy it. Now, before I end the video, there's a nice little nostalgic a couple minutes of footage of when I was working on the 750. And this footage brings back a lot of memories. You can see I'm using 8065. This is from a few years ago when we did the 750. Now, I'm not sure, I really am not sure, if that's going to have the intended look when I take it out in the sun. I'm going to go take it out in the sun, see if I see any spots that I'm really not happy with right now. But that would be my technique for basically for buffing out a motorcycle part in about 15-20 minutes. There's probably 8-10 parts, so you can figure out how much time it would take to do a whole motorcycle, and you could do a whole car actually this way. Anything that's painted and all the stuff that the buffer and the pads and everything from Harbor Freight are so much cheaper than anywhere else that always look in Harbor Freight first. We have all these parts yet to buff. We got a fender that needs to be buffed, some parts back here, windshield. These are all parts of our ongoing track bike project that I've been putting up. This part, and I can show this right now, it was done on a day that the wind was really blowing and there's a lot of dust in here. Well, that'll come right out. That's not a problem at all. Some of the parts like this one's already been buffed, and look how nice that one looks. So I can show off my handiwork here or whatever. And I made some of the parts a little custom, like this part here. This is usually where the key fob is. That's got to be buffed yet. It's really not real shiny yet. And the other thing we've been doing lately is all of the bikes. Let me turn the seat around here. We made a custom seat cover. And by the way, getting that curve up there in the vinyl was really a big job. But we can do it. Getting some just custom little touches on the bike. Now this, again, this is a track bike. It's only for riding on the track. But we still enjoy, I enjoy having it as nice as possible. There's no reason that I can understand. There's no reason not to have it as nice as possible. We had some custom decaling by John Pothier. And we still haven't finished the tank. But again, there's a lot left to be done. And ultimately, we hope we're going to be riding it on a track, and when you see this bike in one piece all put together and the paint's all buffed out, well, I'm not so sure how it's going to come out until it's done, but I think it's going to be a unique, one-of-a-kind motorcycle, and we'll enjoy riding it on a track in the years to come. And hope you picked up some information off the video. Now, all that buffing information, it's on our previous videos on our channel. You need to put my name in quotation marks and then GPX750R, and they will come up, the buffing ones and everything. Anyway, the only thing, and this is worth mentioning on a day where we're ending one project, all of the hours you put into any custom bike project, if you enjoy that passion, if that's part of your passion, what makes it really worthwhile is the day you get to go ride the bike. And in this case, I've gotten several years of track bike riding with this that are all good, all safe. Bike performed well. I really always had a great time with Luciano. It was just a priceless time. We've got the custom wheels. We've got custom paint. The bike's as reliable as a stone, almost maintenance free. I've got polishing videos, especially the one for polishing the swing and arm, that I think have over 1 million hits already. But the best thing of all, the thing that makes it all worthwhile, is at the end of it, at the end of all this work and all this buffing and all this sanding and everything, you get to keep the bike, and you get to keep it forever. And as I look back through my album of pictures and memories and things, this bike, the day Luciano and I picked it up in the bowels of Patterson and went through all that restoration, and I think of how many enjoyable hours I've had with it, it's just unbelievable, and it's been a lot of fun. I never regret 1 minute of the time I spent working on it. So as we end the video, I just want to remind everybody we do try to post up something interesting and useful information almost every day. And we have several projects. We're finishing up the Ducati project right now. We're finishing up the Evil Twin Wheels project. We still have to do the photo shoot up by Luciano, among other things. And the season is coming up very, very soon. It's coming a little bit each day. is our spring riding season, some of the best riding, nice cool weather before the summer gets here. We're going to try to share all that out on our channel. We have over 2,000 videos, buffing, riding, and everything except marital advice. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.